Hi guys. So the nationwide emergency alert test planned for October the 3rd took place, and messages were received on cell phones, TV, and radio, alerting to an emergency. But it was just a test. But I feel like it could be a week's warning that will lead us to October the 10th, October the 11th. Would be obviously a day after that week warning, and that may have some connections with this video. In this scene here, we've been seeds in the middle as two seeds and one seed referencing 21. But what if it's not referencing 21 at all, but 1 and 1, which is 11 on one side, and then one seed and no seed, meaning 10, 1 0, 1 1. That's either November the 10th or October the 11th. I'm going to focus on October the 11th because that's coming up. It's coming up soon. I also want to put a cautionary warning on October the 7th, because down here we've got the reference to either an X and a 7 or a 1 7, which, if it is an X and a 7, could be 10 and 7. Even if it's 17, that's still 10 and 7, which could be October the 7th, which is coming up in 2 days' time, and that may have some connections with the UK. I don't know. I'm just putting that thought out there. I haven't really looked into it too much, but you can see we've got possibly a reference to a 7 over here, possible reference to a 7 over here, an X. We're in October, so just keeping all the options open. On the wall back here, I have interpreted before that the O is the 11th letter of the alphabet on this wall, because they've taken off A, B, C, and D. So where O would normally be the 15th letter of the alphabet, it's the 11th letter of the alphabet. That could be pointing us to, for example, October 11th. Even if you kind of look at it in a different way, saying, okay, yeah, let's say this is October 11th, and we go 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way to Z, then again, that's 11, so it's kind of mirrored in that way. The O is the 11th letter backwards and forwards, which may be, again, maybe pointing to October 11th. I can't say with any certainty. I can only say what I'm interpreting from what I'm seeing. And in this one's a little bit more complex, but I'm going to try anyway. And I'm focusing at this point on the top part of the phone here, where we have the signal bar, the network, and the Wi-Fi signal, as well as the battery percentage. Now, looking at this in a completely interpretive way, we have 2 bars on the signal, 5 in total, but we have 3 which aren't highlighted. So that's a reference to 23, in my opinion. But the number 2 itself, I think, is a representation of the number 11. Because even when you go back to the iPet Goat 2 video, the way that they write the number 2 is not like they write in the title here of the person who uploaded this video, but as you've seen, it's a Roman numeral version of 2, which again could be a representation of 11. You don't have the bars across the top here, just 1 and 1. So looking at it in that way, it could be 1, 1, 3, which could interpret as November the 3rd. I did look at that date last year, and it is within the watch period of the 31st of October to the 5th of November, so it's possible. But there's also another reference to something I've talked about before, which is 11:30, which is at the time. And if you do these two as 1, 1, 3, then you've got the next thing, which is O or 0, which would be 11:30, which could reference 11:30 as a time. But also the O could have a dual meaning, as in it could be the O2 as in the actual arena itself, as I've talked about before, but it could also represent October. And then if you do the same again with a 2 and break it down into 2 1s, that could be October 11. And then the UK part, the U or U is the 21st letter of the alphabet and K is the 11th letter of the alphabet. If you flip those around to their opposite formats, 21 becomes 9 and K becomes 23. 923 is obviously a representation of 9/11, So it's possible we have a reference to 11:30, October the 11th, 9/11. And then I think they're even using the Wi-Fi signal here as like a representation of an explosion, a nuclear explosion, or a chemical one, as I've talked about before. And the reason I think that is because this is Prince Harry's phone. Obviously, I don't think it's his real phone, but this is the phone he's using, which means that he would have full bars. There's no way he would only have two signal bars on his phone. He would have full coverage. Equally with the Wi-Fi, he would have full coverage as well. So in this representation or in this interpretation, it doesn't look like it's a full like nuclear detonation. Something a bit smaller. And that reminds me of the BBC Spooks Code 9 TV series that they did, where they showed a bomb going off in London, and the narrator said, in bomb terms, it wasn't the biggest, but from that day forward, things would never be the same. And I just wanted to kind of present these theories or these interpretations of what I think may be pointing to October the 11th, which is coming up in 6 days' time. It could be that October the 3rd, the national emergency test, was a week before the event is due to take place. But again, when you think of October, you've got to consider that that is a representation of the 10th month, and it could be reversed. It could be November the 10th instead. There's a lot of things I'm watching. There's dates jumping out of me all over the place. I ignore a lot of them because I can't find corroborating information regarding it. But when I find things like, October the 11th, for example, and I'm seeing in the seed, you've got the 2 seeds, the 1 seed, 2 seeds on one side could be representation of 11, 1 seed and no seed on the other side could be a representation of 10. And then the same again, coming back to this side here, O could be October, the 10th month, being the 11th letter this way and the 11th letter that way, could be significant. Also, I've noticed that the O and the Z that are tilted, obviously O follows after N and Z follows after Y, but that obviously has a direct connection to NY, which could be New York or even New Year. As last year, again, I'm finding that a lot of the dates that I looked at last year, I'm looking at this year, and I think there's a reason for that, because some of the dates I looked at last year had a lot of corresponding, can't say evidence, but corresponding interpretations to match it. But then we realized late in January that we had the wrong year, and that the video was referencing the year of the dog, the Wushu year of the dog, and that is 2018. That does go up until, I believe, February next year, but in conjunction with the Economist magazine and the Get Ready for a New Currency in 2018, it seems like things are going to kick off in this year, leading into next year. So with all that said, I'll keep an eye on any more corresponding information for October the 11th. Still got the cautionary warning on October the 7th. As pointed out before, the 7 is clearly connected to the UK in some way. Again, as I said, the shark's head forms the pound coin symbol. The shark fins form the number 7. So there's something there. A time, a date, a number of something, I don't know. But considering we've got the 7th coming up in 2 days' time, it's worth putting the warning just in case something does happen on that day involving the UK. And then again, I'm just going to say everywhere, just keep watching October the 11th and October the 10th, obviously, time zones. If nothing, then we jump to the end of the month, or I jump to the end of the month anyway, to October the 31st to November the 5th, and then November the 10th to November the 11th. You guys have a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and may the Heavenly Father bless you.